Hey, what's up, Naughty Crew? Today I'm going to be showing you how to create ridges using the third loop of your stitch. Creates these ledges along your work. I'm going to be showing you two different ways today how to work them in the round and also how to work them in rows because it varies just a little bit. So we will go ahead and get started with the one worked in rows first. As you can see here, if you turn it to the side, you can see the ledges just a little bit better. Let's go ahead and get started. I've created just a foundation chain here. It doesn't matter if you work with an odd or an even number, you'll be able to get this stitch technique done. So this is just a row of half double crochets. And to get started with those ridges, we'll chain one and turn our work, and we, under both loops, we're just going to do a half double crochet into our first stitch. And the reason why I don't work this first stitch as one of the ridges or ledge stitches is because when you come back to do a border on your work, it'll make it a little bit easier to work into that stitch. Creates for a cleaner look. Okay, so to get the ridges, basically what you're going to do is we're working a half double crochet, but it's where we're working it. Here is where you would typically go through, but to get that ridge, we want these two stitches to pop out. So we're going to insert our hook from the back side because we want to go through this loop right there. That's the third loop. And the easiest way I found to do that is to just go right underneath it and grab it like this. Pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through all three. So going under those top two, here's that third loop. You go right underneath. Again, that third loop. There's usually a little space for you to go under. You might have to hold your work a little bit different, but you will get used to the rhythm of how this is worked after you complete it a few times. Working this into the round is a little bit easier. We're almost to the edge here. Like I said in the beginning of this video, that working in rows and working in rounds is slightly different. I worked my stitches pretty loose here. Looks like we got 2 stitches left. And just like in the first stitch, when worked in rows, I'm going to go under both loops instead of into the third loop. So there's our first ridge. Now, you could always chain one, turn your work, and do the exact same, where you would now start going into the third loop here. However, your ridge is going to be on the opposite side of your work. So how we avoid this is we're going to do just a row of half double crochets. Unless you want your ridges to be on both sides and spaced out a little bit more. For this demonstration, I want all of my ridges to be on the same side. Oops. And one more stitch here. When you're actually doing the ridge stitches, don't forget to do that chain 1 and turning your work. Half double crochet into your first stitch, and then we'll start with those third loops. I think it's easier to work after you've done your foundation chain because there's a space right here. So I'm going to put my hook down through there. To start my next set of ridges. There's the third loop. Okay, I think you guys probably got it from there. So after you do your ridges, when you're working rows, do another row of just half double crochets. Now I'm going to show you guys how to work it in the round, which I found to be a lot easier. I've already worked up just a small example piece. Doesn't matter the stitch count, you will be able to achieve this look following these steps here. So here's the end of my round. I'm just going to join with a slip stitch, and I like to do a little bit taller of a chain 1 when working with half double crochets. Now, when your work is always facing the same way, it's so much easier, but that third loop is a little bit more accessible. I'm going to turn my work around here so you can see. This right here is our third loop because we want to make these top ones be ridged out. So the way that it'll look to you is I've already yarned over. You'll insert your hook into that first stitch, maybe. There we go. And you'll see that loop that's right underneath my hook here. You're going to go down underneath it and pull up your loop. So again, it's going to be easier. And sometimes I will fold my work like this because it's easier to see. There's my third loop. Here's the next. And you can see that next row of ridges, or next round of ridges, coming into view. So again, the third loop is this one here. So my next stitches will go here, here, here. And we are just working that half double crochet. And because we don't have the rows between to keep our ridges on the same side, they will be closer together than they were on the example piece that we worked in rows. This is a really popular technique to use with hats this year. So I hope that you found this tutorial helpful and that you'll incorporate some of these half double crochets through the third loop in your next hat design or pattern that you're working up. Looks totally pro and pretty dang easy if you know the anatomy of your stitches. Just finish this row off with a slip stitch. There we have it. There's our ridges. And if I wanted to do another row of them, again, just as a reminder, here's our top stitches. You're going to be working into these loops, the third loop. So there's in the round, and oops, here's worked in rows. Thanks for watching, you guys. Hope you have a great weekend, and happy hooking.